Hi, my name is Prerak Sharma. I write on a whiteboard a new topic or something that I feel like sharing. I speak for 10 minutes now to improve my communication skills and become a person who can express his thoughts better in the language of English. The world, the common language, the standardized communication tool that is used worldwide is English now. One has to know how to speak this language fluently, and the second phase in my journey towards learning English is talking with people, talking new topics that I am not aware of, speaking instantaneously about a random day or random conversation. For that, I have to stop making these videos with me alone. I have to move out and meet some people, and then from that experience I'll get to know more. Get more data, I'll get more experience, I'll get more failures, and then I'll learn. So that is the process. I am here to do it for 2 years. You all will also witness my journey in the upcoming 2 years. So what should we do today? From my MBA, so I'm pursuing my MBA in data science and AI at IIT Mandi. Here I developed a structure in my mind of thinking in dimensional perspective. How can so this is a two-dimensional structure, two-dimensional plane. In a 2D plane, we have two variables, and these are independent. Independent means value of x is not dependent on the value of y. X is totally independent of y. Height and weight of a person. Height is totally different than y. Height does not vary with the weight. And if this is a 2D structure, and if we add one more direction to it, we get a 3D plane, like a cube. A cube is a 3D structure. A cube is a 3D structure, like this could be the corner of a room, and all the three dimensions in it, x-axis, y-axis, and height, length, breadth, and height. These are three dimensions which are totally independent of each other. When operating in life with large data sets, I have to know what independent variables I have, how many dimensions are there. Is x varying with y, or is y varying with z, or are x and y both varying with the third variable? I have to know it. The nature of the variable I need to know. That will help me in assessing, in applying mathematics to it. Because mathematics is also a tool. In the end, I have to first analyze the quality of the data that I'm having. If x and y, two variables, if x is dependent on y, we have a function. A function is something that standardizes everything that we put into it. If y is a function of x, and x plus c, if the intercept is 0, we get a straight line graph. We put value of, in this equation, y equal to mx. We put some values of x, we get a value of y. We put some value of x, we get another value of y. Similarly, we get, after joining these points, we get a straight line, and this is known as a linear line. So we can say that x and y are form a linear graph. I don't know if the word correlation should be used here, although they both are correlated, but the word, if we should use the word correlation or not. So here we can say, and this is one dimensional. How is it one dimensional? Because dimension is equal to the number of independent variables that we have, and here y is depending on x, so there is only one independent variable, that is x, and so the structure is one dimensional. Similarly, when we move on to upper dimension, when we have two independent variables, x and y, what do we have here? When we have x and y, there might be some point where x comma y, the values of x comma y align at single point. We can have many different points, and after these points meet, we get a sort of line, and then we can apply any operation on it. But here, in this graph and in this graph is the difference, that here y is dependent on x. Whatever the value of x, y will be depending on it. But here in 2 dimension, y does not vary with x. X acts independently, y also acts independently, and then a graph is made. This is a 2D graph, a 2D plane, and when we move to a dimension above, we have 2 dimensions which are independent of each other. No point on this plane comes on it. So when they both have a separate direction, so when one more plane is added, so this is the 2D plane, like a floor, and this is the height aspect. And this is the height aspect, the 3rd dimension that we have here. When I represent a point here, from the origin, it has a distance, and that distance is known as magnitude. The distance from here till here, and the direction in which the point A is from origin. It has a direction in which it is going. It is from 2D structure, 2D plane, it looks like the point that I have is inside the 2D plane, but it's not like that. Like in my room, if I have a height here, length and width and down, this is point A. It is on the 3D plane. It has some x-intercept, it has some y-intercept, and it has some z-intercept also. It's not fixed on the 2D plane. So this is what we have to understand. One more thing. And any placeholder that has magnitude and a specific direction from the origin is known as a vector. We can represent vector as 1 or 2. This is the number of rows. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is column. This is a matrix. Matrix is also an array of numbers. What is array? A place where numbers can be kept. I'll learn more about these things. These things just excite me the most, so I try and put it here. And today I also learned a structure, decision-making process. It will be better if I use my notebook for it. Yes, so I'm back with my notebook. Now I'll tell you the decision-making process. And it is proven because it works in real life, I know. So first process in decision-making process is to identify the problem. What the problem is. Let's say in this case, a better classroom could be a problem. A more professional classroom we can take as a problem. So the first step is to identify. The first step is to identify a problem, and then the second step is to identify the decision criteria. So the problem is the classroom is unprofessional. It could be improved. So now I have to give some criteria for a better classroom, a classroom that is professional. So I'll need some criteria in it. What could my criteria be? My criteria could be seating arrangement. It could be AC, ventilation, AC. I need some more space, so I'll probably try to create it once again. So my first criteria is seating arrangement, second could be AC, third could be ventilation, and my fourth criteria could be technology involved in the classroom and cost. So these are my decisions which make a classroom professional. On the basis of this, these are the criteria on which my decision will be based upon, and these are totally independent of each other. Seating, in the dimension I mentioned that if y is not dependent on x, that is what makes it independent, and we need to identify if the parameters that we are taking are dependent variables or independent variables. Here, seating arrangement is not depending on AC arrangement is not depending on ventilation is not depending on technology, and technology is not depending on cost. These are all independent variables. You could say that AC, ventilation are all technology, but here with technology I mean the smart classroom that we can have, the projector lights that we can have, the lighting could be improved, and AC and ventilation are also different, as AC is not used the whole year, but ventilation helps make a class more breathe friendly. So with these independent variables, we have more dimensions in it. If these are independent variables, we have 5 independent variables, and the number of independent variables is equal to the number of dimensions. But here, we can't represent it. If we have 3 independent variables, we have a 3D structure. If we have 2 independent variables, we have a structure. But for a 5D plane, we can't visualize it because our mind operates in a 3D plane. It is really hard and almost impossible for us to actually visualize a thing that is more than 3 dimensions. Our brain cannot process that. It is beyond perception of our brain, not the mind. Perception from the mind can observe many other things. So these are the 5 independent variables that we have. These are the decision criteria on which a decision will be based on. And now, so the first was to identify the problem. The second one was to identify the decision criteria on what my decision will be based. Now the third will be allocating weights to the criteria. Which decision criteria suits me the most? So for this problem statement, I decided to rate them on a scale of 5. So the decision develop. Now I have to associate weights to them out of 5, and now I will generate some alternatives. What possible things could be done to make a classroom better from the one that we already have. So for that, I'll leave some space here for weightage, and here I'll write some alternatives that we could have. We could shift the classroom to some other place which has a better environment, better facilities, better ventilation, all the decision criteria that we have. That is the most feasible one that I can think of. We could invest in improving the current resources that we already have in the class. The third could be construction of a new, so here will become upgradation or re-innovation. And the third criteria that we have will be the construction of a new classroom. New classroom construction. So on basis of it, we'll move on further. And the third, allocation criteria. So now we have to allocate some weights to the criteria that we have set. For seating arrangement, I feel that 30% weightage should be given to seating arrangement. A more professional classroom should have a ladder sequence that gives more interaction to management students. It should be cost effective because cost is also a huge parameter that should be kept in construction, so 25% to it, and 30% for tech, because good speakers, good quality of mic is a criteria that we cannot keep aside. AC and ventilation. So for AC and ventilation, I have to think thoroughly. AC we need not the whole year, so we can keep it at 5%, and ventilation is required, so we give 10% weightage to it. The weightage varies upon the requirements or the need of the people, the stakeholders that are involved in it. So considering the minds of students, this is the parameter that I'm taking into consideration. So we have shifting classroom, the first alternative. Now we allocated the weights, now we developed the alternatives. Now we will develop alternatives. Now the fifth step is to analyze the alternatives. To analyze alternatives, we have to give them a rating out of 5. The criteria that we have and the alternatives that we generated. Now we have to scale them out of 5 like I mentioned earlier, and here will be the total value. So to shifting a classroom, we give weightage 3, 1, 2, 5, 5. Out of 5, we give the shifting classroom, and the parameter was seating arrangement. We give it a 3 out of 5, a 1 for ventilation because even it doesn't match the AC expectation, 2 for ventilation, and 5 for tech because it has tech, and cost effective because we just need to shift. And the total that we get after multiplying all these parameters and adding up, we get 3.9, and 443 and 44 343 443 12 13 14 15 16 17 18 10 12 13 14 15 16 17. There might be a mathematical error here, but let's see what the issue is. 55541, so 15 plus, yeah, no, it is fine because the weightage that we are giving, that is the most. So considering after adding up and multiplying the parameters, we have 3.65 here, and here we have 3.7. So the best decision that we can take. So this was the 6th step, selecting, and 5th step, analyzing the alternatives. Now the 6th step is selecting which alternative to choose upon. How do we choose the alternative? We had the decision criteria, we had the alternatives here. Now the most weight that we have, we'll give them priority and make it the winner. This will be my decision. The 6th step is done. The 7th step is implementation. Implementation is not in my hand. Implementation is in the hand of the owner of the classroom. My idea was to present a statistical analysis of the best decision that I have done. And the last step is to evaluate the decision. The decision once made, after some time of this getting into play, we can then further go back to the criteria that we had and analyze, evaluate the decision that we have made. Is it even following the framework that we had in mind? If it is not, we have to iterate and learn from mistakes that we have made in the past. If it is working, then we have to then our model gets approved. Our model is right. So that is what we get from it. This is the more decision making process that the person should follow. 8-step decision making process. The first one, the main problem is need recognition. Identify a problem, then identify some decision criteria on which your decision will be made. You can see it here. And after that we have identifying the decision criteria. We'll allocate weights to the criteria. After that, we'll develop alternatives. After developing alternatives, we'll analyze the alternatives by multiplying the weights with the weightage with the parameter, the rating that we have thought of, and then we'll develop alternatives. Then analyze the alternatives. After analyzing the alternatives, doing our math, we'll select one alternative, implement the decision, and after implementing, we'll evaluate the decision. So this is the structure that a person should follow while decision making. I discussed about dimensions today. After dimensions, we went into a real case that involved following the 8-step decision making process. This obviously will add value to your lives. My way of explaining will eventually improve with the upcoming videos and more. I'm learning about new things and learning English better by speaking up more. This is just the beginning. 2 years, we have a long way to go. I'll improve consistently, linearly. I'm improving. Let's see where it goes. You learned dimensions today, and you also learned 8-step decision making process. More things, more better explanation will be coming up in the next videos. Thank you for watching. I'm not hoping, obviously you'll like the video, so just drop a like below, comment any insights that you have. If you want to get in touch with me personally, links to my personal account Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn are in the description below. If they are not, just search me anywhere, you'll find me. And that's it for today. Any problems, queries, or suggestions are appreciated in the comments below, or you can personally DM me. So this was it for today. Signing off, Prerak Sharma, IIT Mandi, MBA, Data Science and AI. Bye bye.